So I failed to record match 3. It was against Titania. Titania is a tough one. I was on the play. Because you just don't have enough removal, and for some reason there's not Toxic Deluge in the deck. And I think maybe there should be Toxic Deluge in the deck. But we're on the play. And I got the turn 1 Deathrite. He got the turn 1 Utopia Sprawl. We got a Mana Leak in our hands that I'm figuring I can probably counter Titania with. I draw an Ancestral. I play it. And I hold up my mana, which was a good thing because he played Hall of Gemstones. And I don't think it's optional to counter this. This would have been pretty bad for me. Made it really hard to cast all my spells, so I countered it. And I played Leovold that turn. He's still a turn away from Titania unless he gets an Ancient Tomb. And we still have the Deathrite Shaman, which can exile a land if he manages to get one in the graveyard. He doesn't even draw a land. He has to cultivate to get a land. Didn't have any counter spells anyways. So, Ancestral's ticking down. I play a land that I drew. And I play the Anvil, holding up Daze, attack with Leovold. The Anvil makes him discard a card. He doesn't get to get the extra card, so it's going to slowly whittle down his hand. So it's a great combo with Leovold. And instead of playing Titania, he gets a little bit greedy and goes for Primetime, and it just plays right into our Daze, which was pretty awesome. Ancestral's one turn away. I draw a Ghastly Demise, which allows me to kill the Titania, because I do have 3 cards in my graveyard. But unfortunately, he drew a Sylvan Safekeeper, and that means that I can't kill Titania. And so I play the Ghastly Demise to get one of the lands out before it gives him a creature. And then I wait for him to target the creature with the land with Titania. And then I exile it. So that's one last land I have to deal with. So the Ancestral goes off. We draw a Repeal and about nothing else. So I discard the Creeping Tower Pit. I play land. We got Vampiric on top of my library, and we draw 2 cards next turn, which is pretty good. He does decide to go all in. Except he's smart, and he leaves the 1 land open. So I decide to repeal anyways. I want to get rid of that land. Thinking back about it, I maybe shouldn't have repealed. Because he might have been able to cast something, but I've got a bunch of counter spells. He might have been able to cast a creature, which would have been kind of bad. But he might not have gone for it. He might have had one less creature, and that might have mattered. So he counters the repeal with the Shroud, but he has no lands in play. So I figure if I can get through all this, I can win. But it's going to be hard to get through all that. I can block 3 of them, or I can block 2 of them profitably. I decided to block 2 of them profitably and gain life with Deathrite Shaman. And I get to keep the Courser. So I draw the Vampiric Tutor. This goes on the stack. I play Vampiric Tutor. I go looking through my library. There is no Toxic Deluge, and that would have won me the game flat out. I would have done 3 damage. He would have had nothing in play. I would have won. So I don't know why there's not Toxic Deluge in the deck. It feels like there really should be. So instead, I think, like, I've got a few things I can block with. I can block with Tarmogoyf. I can block with Gurmag. Or I can block with Baleful Strix. I didn't do the math, and I realized I'm taking 11 damage next turn, and I'm going down to 10. So even if I have a blocker, it's no good. Regardless, like, there's nothing that kills 2 creatures, really. So my best bet, I guess Treachery would have taken one of them, and I could have used it to block. That actually probably would have been our better play. I think I probably could have survived if I had Treachery. I didn't even... I went for the Baleful Strix because it gives me a blocker that kills a creature, and I get to draw a card. That card is going to be Counterspell, so I shuffle. And it's going to be Dispel now. And that loses me the game. Whereas Treachery would have at least kept me alive for another turn. I don't know if it would have mattered, but it would have kept me alive because he would have had... He would have had 3 of these. I would have killed 1. I would have lost 1. And he still would have had 2. So I still would have had to draw something. Whereas Toxic Deluge would have won me the game. But I was doing real well. I had all the answers to everything he was presenting until he dropped down the Safekeeper. And even a Zurin Orb wouldn't have done it. Because the repeal would have been good. And I would have been able to Ghastly Demise a creature as well that mattered. Like, he ended up countering both the Ghastly Demise and the repeal. So it was like the one card that he needed to get through, and so I made sure he was willing to go all in. He was, and I lost. So it was a hard one.